We're Batman at 89. Hello and welcome to Bat Minute 89, the show where we stalk and weave and creep our way through Tim Burton's Batman 1 minute at a time. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan, and I'm very proud of John because I think for maybe the first time, he didn't have to ask who was introducing the show before we started. So.
I know, for once I actually remembered.
Yeah, 45 minutes in, he finally picked it up.
And that laugh you could hear was our special guest today for this minute only, for now, at least. We are joined by singer-songwriter Bryarly Bishop. So thank you for joining us. Hello.
Thank you very much for inviting me and introducing me to the wonderful world of Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So I suppose we should let people know because they'll probably could potentially color what you say throughout the whole thing. But you were invited on the show and you're like, oh, yeah, fine. And then a couple of days later, you were like, "Oh, I've never seen the film." So it was because we've had people on here who have literally are obsessed with this film and could recite it backwards to you, but we've never had someone who's just never seen it at all. So it could be quite interesting.
Well, I have since watched it.
Yeah. There was talk though for a second though of oh, maybe just watch this minute completely out of context, which would have been quite interesting. But
well, I thought about it, but my my roommate and my best friend is really into Batman. So I knew that he had seen this definitely, and would maybe want to watch it again. So when I asked, it was hey, I've been invited to do this thing, what do you think? And he's like, oh man, I have the box set of,
yes,
all Batmans,
yeah,
all the Batmen. So
well, that is right, there's multiple Batmen, I suppose.
Yeah, some of the casting choices are much more intimidating than others, I have to say, having watched The Dark Knight before this.
What's your take on Michael Keaton being cast as Batman? Because some people love it, some people don't.
I'm divided. On the one hand, I personally am not intimidated in any way by him at all.
Out of the suit or in the suit? That you're just
regardless.
Oh, right, fair enough. No, come on, he was Beetlejuice. Come on, he was the ghost with the most. He's got to be slightly intimidating to someone.
Only as Beetlejuice.
I think I might actually be taller than he is. I'll look it up, but I'm just imagining a tiny Batman coming towards me. Not that, and he's a great actor, but he just doesn't seem, I don't know, I wasn't sold. But on the other hand, as far as seeing yourself within a character and being able to, push the idea of the everyman,
yes,
a great choice. If what you want is for people to see themselves in your character, I think he's a really strong casting decision.
Well, yeah, Tim Burton does pretty much say a similar thing. That is one reason he cast him, was he just looks like a normal guy. You wouldn't suspect him, and he needs his money and his equipment in order to try and be intimidating.
Yep, I am. I'm sorry, I've just looked it up. I am taller than Michael Keaton. He was 5'9".
So that means, though, you if they were still doing Michael Keaton Batman films, you could have been an arch nemesis. You could have tried out and been
That's
look.
true.
It's been some incredibly, let's say not incredibly, normal-sized woman.
I wouldn't have to do anything. I would just put on heels. Be wandering around 6'2" or something.
Well, I suppose I should actually probably start the minute off here. We've gone off on a tangent already. Who would have thunk that Bat Minute 89 would go off on a tangent? Well, this is minute 45, and it starts with Bruce doing a runner, and it ends with him dropping off 2 roses at what appears to be a very random part of the street. Who knows what that's all about, huh? Could be anything.
What?
But and then now we have to kind of address the fact that now that Bryarly's watched the film, it's kind of oh, you got the minute in between Jack Nicholson talking to a charred skeleton and then killing a guy with a pen, and then you just got this, oh, there's Vicki Vale following Bruce Wayne.
Well, there is quite a lot to talk about just in this minute, I think. Because obviously we're back here with Bruce as he begins to drive out of his manor, and Vicki pursues.
Yeah, Vicki, they're presumably getting ready to go to like a costume party as like a goth version of Toad from Mario, probably. This hat, man. Like, I love it, but it's like, what is this hat? You know?
Oh yeah, I'm digging the hat.
It's like she tried to make a tea cozy and then halfway through was like, I need a new hat.
It also looks like, this is going to be a deep cut reference, but like, have you two ever seen The Langoliers?
No.
No.
Oh, it's like a Stephen King thing. But there's like these monsters in it that are just horribly CGI'd, kind of dark balls with gnashing teeth. They're kind of like an evil Pac-Man. And it's kind of like one of them's just like munched into her head and is just stuck there now. But
Well, I've just looked it up, and yes, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But
That's pretty
It's
weird.
LANG.
oh my god, because the Langoliers isn't even an actual word, so that doesn't like it's gonna be.
Oh, aren't they creepy?
Oh, the film.
They're pretty cool.
They sort of look like oysters with teeth.
Yeah, but it's actually not. It's not the worst Stephen King adaptation you'll ever see, but they were the big
Is
reveal.
it not? Are you sure?
It's that was the big reveal
They're like
in like
testicles with mouths.
Well, the contest for worst Stephen King adaptation is a pretty tough one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of terrible adaptations.
But anyway, now in Stephen King minutes, we're going to talk about the hat that looked like something else.
Well, I think we may have touched on this briefly. Did we mention this briefly last minute? That Vicki, she is absolutely shockingly terrible at being secretive. Like you can see her waiting around the corner.
Yep.
Surely Bruce, he's got he's very good at perception and things. He knows she's there, surely.
Well, you think like nowadays, your modern day Batman, for sure, he would no chance in hell that you'd be able to tail him. But like this, I don't think he does, because I know we'll get to it next week. But when Vicki reveals that she is there, like after an exciting incident that's coming up, he does kind of give her a look of like, "What? You're here?" Like he had no idea. But I guess maybe it's just more, he's just off. He's just like, well, the chances that someone's going to be following me today. But
Yeah. But then again,
Maybe he's just really in character all the time. And like, I thought that. I was like, oh my God, he's so manipulative to let her follow him and then have this like dramatic moment with roses. I scoffed.
yeah, he just wants her to see him. Look at his sensitive soul.
Right. Yes, exactly.
he's kind of like the dark poet in secondary school, just like, the girls don't understand me, but I bet they think I'm really cool.
Yeah,
though.
and then he's set up now to like, anytime in the future, if he's like, I'm sorry, I have to leave. I can't hang out with you. Then she's like, oh, he's probably just helping orphans or memorializing something.
He's such a deep man,
Yeah, he's got a get out of jail free card forever. If that's and then the other 80% of it is covered by being Batman.
But I suppose though, like before we get into what he's actually doing in the alley, just because we do see briefly, we do get like a little, because we talked last week about Bruce Wayne's swanky. Well, apparently it's not that swanky, but his undercover car, the Volare. And here we get to see Vicky's car, which is apparently it is a 1980 Chevrolet Citation. But
Citation?
Yeah, apparently.
What?
Yeah, she was.
Like they find it for being ugly, or
No, from what I hear, like she was filling out a report, and then like her boss wrote underneath it "citation needed," and she just got really confused and ended up buying this car. So.
well, all right,
As a joke that did not land right there, but
I liked it. I like the more terrible the
Alright.
gag, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah, but are you, because like you're talking here, Bryarly, to two fellas who do not drive and do not know anything about cars, so like you might be able to say, oh, a Chevrolet Citation was like the greatest car of the 1980s, or like, do you know anything about it, or can you
no, I don't know anything.
I thought you might be
No,
able
it's
to like
hideous.
attest to its quality or in some way or something. So.
It looks sturdy. I
Is
could say
it-
that.
It is a very ugly car.
Yeah, it was. There is. I tried to do a bit of research on it, and there's like, because at least like were able to make tenuous links with Bruce's car, but this is just like, nah, there's nothing. It's just a brown citation. But apparently, you can also see Chevrolet citations in Manimal.
Okay.
Police Academy 6, which has been mentioned
bloody hell.
several times.
You always bring up Police Academy on this damn show, and nobody likes any of them except the first one.
Let's say I always specifically bring up Police Academy 6, but there you go. It also features in Murder, She Wrote, DC Cab, which is a John Peters film that me and John are both very... me and John Parker, not John Peters. Although I'm sure John Peters likes it as well. And it's also in an episode of Twin Peaks. So that was a...
Oh.
Maybe it's just a very common car.
I'm assuming, this is like a handful of appearances that have had, like, there's about...
Chevys... I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think Chevys are particularly glamorous. It's not like like a Bentley or a Porsche or a Lexus or even a BMW. It's like a run-of-the-mill kind of standard, almost blue-collar car.
Yeah, I think that fits her character because she's a success, but not like she's not rich, is she? She's good at her job. People respect her, but she's not really raking in the money.
Yeah, I mean and honestly, her car really doesn't look like it's in bad shape either. Like in 10 years, that car is going to be a beater, but at the time, it's just like you have a car and that is a working vehicle. Good job, Vivi. Getting after it.
Yeah, they'll be like, so whoever chose that car for this scene will be listening to this episode and be like, there you go. That's all I wanted from it.
Finally, after all these years.
So even people who hadn't seen the film until the other day get that. So like that's how successful that choice of car was.
Well, it works as well.
I worry a bit about the mental state of someone who's going to be scouring podcasts for some shred of validation.
well, we don't want to insult any potential listeners, so I'm sure they're all great people.
But not them, obviously. I don't worry about them.
Well, the car works as well for what she's doing with it, I suppose, because she's sneaking after Bruce and trying to spy on him, and it's a very inconspicuous car. And what isn't inconspicuous though is that hat.
Yeah.
Or anything else about her. I mean, she's 2 feet of this like corn silk blonde hair on a black background, an entirely black background, because she's somehow found a cloak.
I'm thinking though she's got there and she's heard
or like a poncho.
She's heard so much about Batman. She's like, I like this whole cape thing. I think I'm gonna get into that as well. It's like I can dress it. He goes around dressed all in black, looking cool. I'm gonna dress all in black, looking cool as well.
It's like a teenager going after their crush. It's like, oh, I see that you like leather. I too am familiar.
We've all done that.
This is just like a little insight into Bryarly's teenage years there as well, of past conquests.
What was one? It was like, oh, you like the Red Hot Chili Peppers? No, totally. I totally like them.
But as well, though, like one thing that in this minute really caught my eye, and I can't make out what it is like when she's parking up this car, she parks it in front of like a green shutter. And there's 2 identical pictures up at the top. And I can't make out what the figure is, because it kind of looks like... Is it like a little old woman holding a handbag? Or is it like an orangutan holding a handbag? Or
an orangutan?
It looks a bit like...
Look at the legs. It's not a monkey.
Yeah, but
let me check.
It could be like a really badly... it could be a really badly drawn one, but it's infuriating to me.
It's right after she parks.
Yeah, it's literally she.
Oh God, that hat.
It's beautiful though. I do love the hat, just not for secret agent work.
But
oh, I see what you're talking about.
So again, none of what you're usually taught in film school and whatnot. It's like nothing on screen's an accident. So that like the fact that there's 2 identical things next to each other, is that supposed to be indicating Bruce's duality, that like, oh, he's living, this is her now seeing a little bit of his 2 separate lives and stuff? Or
it almost looks like a spacesuit.
I can see a space. Yeah. Is it like, could it be like a guy, is it like a workman and he's got like a hard hat and his neck's really weirdly to the side? Or
to me it looks like somebody in a spacesuit.
Just hanging out. Like
Or maybe like a sheep on its hind legs because it's got black, feet, and like one of its hands could be mittened or something.
But what could it be for? I think Niall,
Maybe
it's
if
just
it is like a sheep, it's just like a representation of the people being sheep in a city where the police force isn't effective.
Could be. You never know.
It's like a weird communist, I don't know, commentary.
That's probably the closest we're going to get to a sensible answer, to be honest. I just thought it's just some sort of gig poster that's been left up from some band playing in town. I guess when they were recording, just leave it there, leave it there.
Terrible job canvassing. If you're going to put up posters, you do like walls at a time. At least you do. That's the way it is in LA. Like, it's not like a poster.
It could be that someone was putting up posters and then Batman swooped in. He's just like, you're littering the walls, buddy, and just like knocked the crap out of him. And then like, you're defacing public property. Exactly, yeah. So this is like, it's another mark of the bat, and he's like, I haven't got the time to tear those down, and just grapples off or whatever. So.
Well, I'm glad we both focused on something completely pointless, because in the next shot where you see Bruce walking away, I saw a big sign at the top that said Denkins. I think it says Denkins Services.
I thought it was Deacons, but maybe.
Well, it could be Deacons. Oh, okay. Oh, no, it's Deacons. It's Deckins, Deacons, whatever. But the point is, I was Googling it, thinking this has to be something to do with Batman, like from the comics, and they're sneaking it in, and they're trying to reference something. So I spent about 45 minutes trying to research this company, and it was a waste of time. An absolute waste of time.
I think like nowadays that would have been something that would have been like a Luther Core sign or like something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Something that links it to like it's from Queen Industries or what something that links it to the wider DC stuff. But or even like with Marvel, it been like it's a Tony Stark sign or something like that. But this is just like back in '89. They're like, nah, it's just who cares? It's a sign. It's no, it could have been like an advertisement for the Daily Planet. But no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, they had so much to play with, and they just couldn't be bothered. But considering that superhero movies weren't really a thing anymore by that point.
Although we did,
and they, I'll let them off.
Maybe they just spent their entire budget on prints.
Yes, that was a good use of the budget because Prince makes
no
everything
disagreements
better.
Here. Absolutely worth it. But maybe that's what they did. They were like, we could do more specific set dressing, or we could have Prince play a few more songs.
Yeah. And I know what the right answer is to that dilemma.
As did they.
Yep. Prince, more Prince.
As we move on then through the minutes, we see Bruce from behind strutting his stuff, and then we get a welcome return to one of our favorite characters, Steam. Just reappears.
Hey.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we saw some Steam. So prevalent earlier in the film, but now it disappeared for a bit, but now it's back.
Yeah, Bryarly, this whole movie, almost every shot is full of steam, and we've been picking up on this since we're analysing it so minutely. Steam all over the place, just coming out of random grates all over. Is this a thing in America, or is this a Gotham thing?
I think it is like an exaggeration of steam in like New York City.
What is causing the steam? Because we don't get that around here.
It's from like the subway or like the sewer. If it's warmer than the air outside, like if it's say January or February in New York, and it's like 20 degrees, 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But like the sewers aren't, or you've got just the heat from everybody in the subway, and that's like coming up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's like a giant exhale underground. I mean, you've got to have it ventilated.
Well, you'd think that, but you've obviously not spent too much time in terrible English subways.
I have actually.
I mean, London's okay, but anywhere else you go with a train.
Yeah, just London, really.
This is like the fact we had to get an American in to explain this to us as well. It's just like, I have no clue what this is.
Here to help.
That's all we needed you for, Bryarly, so we'll see you later. Anyway.
Bye.
That's It's from the underground bits being warmer than the outside bits. You got it. Gotham has much, much more steam than I have seen in any real city.
It's definitely a choice for the atmosphere. Because even in the daytime here, steam all over the place. Previously, we'd seen it at night, but now, nope, it turns out it's just there all the time, every minute of the day.
Maybe it's something about him, like, obscuring his past. Like, it's some symbolic...
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, no, it could be as well. Because there is another little bit of symbiotic. I was going to say symbiogy. That's probably not even a word, but
I'll allow it.
Another bit of Symbolism. Yeah, there you go. That'll do. Because we do get we got another shot of Vicki and then another shot of Bruce turning a corner. And we got another recurring thing that I've only, since analyzing it minute by minute, I've started picking up on this being a thing. And it might not be a thing, but I think it is a thing now because we see it twice here. Whereas on the door, as he's walking past, there's 3 X's. And then when he goes into the main alleyway, there's X's above him. And like we said, back when Vicki first arrived and she was investigating, like, oh, I'm here to investigate Batman. She first went to Wayne Manor and went into that room full of suits of armor. There was shields behind her that had X's on them. And we were kind of saying jokingly, like, oh, is this to be indicating, like, this X marks the spot. You're looking for Batman? Here it is. Look at this weird stuff. Surely this is getting you closer.
Oh, clever.
And then when she had her and Bruce had their night of passion together as she was exiting, and as Alfred was lying to her, or no, when Alfred was like telling her, let loose that Bruce had been lying to her, on the roof above her were X's as well, where his room would be. So it's again indicating like she's looking for Batman. X marks the spot. He's right there. And now again,
that's very cute.
Yeah, and now she's turned this corner, and she's getting closer. It's just like, there you go, the X's again. So it could be complete coincidence, but to me, it's like that has to be. I think that's intentional, right? It's a little bit of like she's on the hunt, and she's it's clearly marked for her. She just has to walk down the path to get there, So
well, as well as leading her to Batman, so to speak, it also every time there's these X's, she finds out something new about Bruce.
Oh yeah.
So it's like kind of digging up his past, or his character in some way.
Yes, she is literally getting closer because it's like first time was like, oh, he's a weird armor collector. Second time he's just like, oh, like I've instantly wanted to spend all my time with this guy and he just wants to get rid of me. And now it's like, oh, he's going and leaving roses in an alleyway. It's like he's a weirdo. But
actually, yeah, Bryarly, that made me think. How do you feel about their relationship up to this point in the movie? Because it was only a few minutes ago when we were watching it where he basically tried to kick her out of the house and get rid of her as fast as he could, which we were quite shocked by. We've never really caught on to that before.
I don't remember the speed at which he tries to get a beautiful blonde to leave his bed.
What's the thing we were kind of joking about, but it's because it's like she wakes him up to be literally like, oh, we have to go to my apartment to look up these photographs and we should spend the day together. And he's just like, oh, okay. Wait a minute. No, I can't do that. I'm leaving town.
I'm busy.
I'm leaving town for a few weeks. Those are a few weeks. How long does it take to go and put some roses in an alleyway? Like it's
yeah, like she doesn't really call him on that, like aggressively, like at all. She's just like, Alfred, what?
She's very, very forgiving, let's be honest, because any sensible person would get the hint and be like, right, no, this obviously isn't working. I'm going.
But then we also have the moral quandary right here of...
or you could stalk him, which is her method.
That's what I'm about to say. It's just like, she doesn't have the right to be doing it, because she's supposed to be investigating Batman, and now she's spending her day following the guy who's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm busy.
Right, like you have to think, all right, he did rush her out, but at the same time, like, maybe his instincts were on point. Like, she literally stalks him the next opportunity she gets. I did kind of think, like, oh my god, Batman, come on. But I don't know, you could do some mental gymnastics and go, he doesn't want to get close to anybody because parents, death, oh god, the horror. But he's also like an adult man and could have had therapy at any time, and she's really hot. Like, why would you That's just foolish.
Yeah.
It is. It's crazy. But again, maybe he does know that she's following him, and it's all, you know, the placing of the roses. It's all part of his long game, isn't it?
Yeah, but none of the pieces go together. Like between I am gonna be gone for a few weeks and she's following me. Better lay some roses. Like surely if she's following you, maybe you should like go to the airport.
He's playing hard to get. That's what it is. You see, he's going old school with it.
He probably saw that episode of Friends when like Chandler was trying to get rid of Janice and went to the airport to pretend he was going to Yemen, and then had to actually go to Yemen. And so Bruce Wayne's like, never me. So,
well, at least Bruce could afford to go to and from Yemen.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that's really more of a problem for Chandler. Like that's got to be an expensive flight.
Oh yeah, for sure. But anyway, we do see Bruce wandering over here to the grounds of the hotel, which is imaginatively titled there by the...
Wait, is that actually the name?
No,
did you look this up?
Poor branding.
No, I didn't look it up, but it does just say hotel. So
I thought you were being like 100% serious and legit.
no.
There.
I thought it doesn't look like it looks like a diner, but they've stuck hotel on it.
Yeah.
Because like, why would you want to stay? It looks like that's kind of like under like some kind of like an underpass or something like that. It looks, I guess, you know, the whole thing, everything in Gotham's really seedy, but like that does not look like a hotel I'd want to stay at. Like it looks horrible. Like it looks like it's in a really, well, it is in Crime Alley, literally. So.
Oh, I thought it had been closed down. Like I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
watching it. I just thought, oh yeah, that's the murder hotel that lost its business after these people were murdered. Yeah, and now it's closed and nobody stays there. So like in LA, our downtown is gross. For the most part, like it's getting better now, but then there's like the whole question of like gentrification and all that. But like just based on the amount of money coming in, downtown is getting more fancy. But there are there are hotels that have that kind of like style, kind of in the same way as this one, where it's like it just says hotel. And
vague hotel number 6.
Yeah, or like I think there's one that we have. It's called like the Claremont, which looks the same way. And they just look kind of gross. But I guess like the idea is like, no, it's Art Deco, it's old school, and then you go inside and it's nicer. Or maybe it's like an area like now that it is time for him to lay the roses. It looks grody, but like when they were there, maybe it was that the area was still like kind of coming out of a bad slump.
Yeah.
But the hotel itself was nice, which is like downtown LA still looks really grody, but I currently cannot afford an apartment there. Maybe it's like that. And then when they were killed, everybody was like, screw it, let's leave this neighborhood.
Yeah, that could have been like the catalyst.
Right, yeah. He's actually laying roses for the hotel. Oh, I loved this hotel.
It's like my parents were killed across the street, but like this hotel, man.
Yeah.
My dad used to take me, and like I used to sit in the lobby while he went upstairs with all these women to have business meetings, and like I had such great times in the lobby of that hotel.
Chocolates on the pillows. Oh man.
Well, actually, that brings up something. I was going to talk about this in a later minute, but I might as well do it now, because he is laying roses, obviously, which we presume is for his murdered parents.
Yep.
But I always thought his parents were killed in an alleyway.
That's what I remember too.
Yeah, but this looks more like it's just the middle of the street. Like I was confused.
Like they stepped out and had like a Lenin moment almost.
Yes.
Just opened the door and then that was that.
I guess we'll have to do like a comparison of like the shots later on when we do get to the flashback of the Wayne murders to see like was this exactly where they were shot, or like have they he's just weirdly gone to a different place for some reason. But like I'm assuming Bruce Wayne can remember where his parents were shot, but
maybe the trauma's so bad that he's got it completely wrong. It's not even this hotel or anything.
Maybe that alley where they were murdered is now so incredibly seedy that when he's not dressed as Batman, he doesn't feel comfortable going down there. So he's like, this is the hotel we left. I'll just lay the roses here. They'll understand.
Yeah. It could be that, because my only other sort of thought was, well, maybe they've built over the location.
Oh yeah,
But
that could
these
be.
these are really old
Yeah.
looking buildings.
Yeah.
None of them look new, even for the world of Batman.
Although, again, like looking in the shot of like Bruce when he's taking the roses out of his coat, like the door behind him is really weird looking as well. It looks like another vault door. It's good. Gotham's got this thing for like it was in Grissom's office as well. Like all his doors look like bank vaults, and this looks like it's like some kind of giant bank vault. Well, not giant, but it looks like a bank vault as well. It's like.
Well, I thought as like art design, the Art Deco kind of thing, they're just trying to make it look nice. But you can see there's like big hinges and things on it that suggest weight.
Yeah.
As you're saying, like a vault door.
That almost seems more like steampunk than Art Deco.
Yes, steampunk. We could go. That's a good way of describing it, actually. Because I was thinking that would be to protect against the crooks, because crime seems to be plaguing everyone. So you want a big, heavy door that you can bolt down.
And I didn't realize that people are just gonna get shot outside, and the place is gonna shut down anyway. So, anywho, I did also note that as Bruce is taken out because he's rocking the shades, I also thought he has a really nice scarf underneath the coat.
Yes, I've made a note on the scarf.
I don't recall the scarf.
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a white but paisley kind of design on it.
Yeah, it looks expensive, I would say. That looks pretty pricey.
The fact that he's like we said before, like he was popping the collar and he's got it under the coat, and I'm just like, is he like? I was thinking like, does he not like this scarf? And this was this like when he's out the door, like Alfred was like, take your scarf, sir, and like putting it around him.
It's weird that he hasn't like buttoned the coat in like with all of this steam going on. Like he's probably. Oh, you know what? It is under a It looks like a thing to go to the train.
Oh yeah,
it's like a walkway to get to the train.
Yes.
I think you're right. Also, his scarf does look very fine. It's weird that he hasn't like buttoned his coat. Like it almost looks like this is an afterthought. Like he was going out the door and was like, oh, like I only just had time to get the roses, and like I guess it's a kind of a cold day, but not too cold. And I'm just like, take your scarf, and then he put the scarf on, and it's like, but I can't be bothered to button it. I'm in a hurry. I'm late to lay flowers.
I was even getting the image of like Alfred been like probably standing at the door with him like trying to fix the coat, and Bruce like, Alfred, and he's taken out and he's spitting in the hanky and wiping his face with
Oh
it.
no way!
Like...
That's way too simple. That he didn't even tie the scarf. If Alfred had been involved, that would be much more secure. I think he'd have a hat.
Maybe Alfred did tie the scarf, and then as soon as Bruce got out the door, he's like, I'm doing this thing. God damn it!
It's like, yeah, when the kids are like having to go to school in uniform, and then like the parents would do up the tie, and then as soon as they're out of sight, you're like rebelliously lowering the tie a couple of like an inch or two, and like, yeah.
But then as soon as you get to school, they make you do it up again. So
that was the other thing. It was always a completely pointless endeavor. But
the woes of English school, British. I should say, Niall.
Yeah,
for you.
Well, there's any school that has a uniform policy, I would imagine. But
well, this scarf, in my head, I was trying to picture what kind of designer you think he would be wearing. That's definitely a designer scarf. What do you think Bruce would wear? Would he go for like Dior? I don't know.
Oh, I imagine Bruce is getting like the top tier. Like but I don't know if he'd spend time on. I think he'd be like. Oh. He'd have a personal shopper, or like Alfred would just go and get the stuff for him, and then whoever that was would spend the time, and then Bruce would just be like, whatever, just throw whatever on me, I don't care, you know.
Hey, so this is, I know that we've moved on, but while I was looking up other things, I just checked the Steam.
Yeah.
Oh, calling back. Is basically
I didn't realize
Rewind.
The Steam was going to be the focal point of the episode.
Sorry, I just kept thinking about it. It's like I think I've given the wrong information. It says New York has a network of pipes that move steam around the city, delivering it to buildings just like electricity. The hot steam is used for a variety of purposes, including cooling buildings. Counterintuitive, but whatever.
Whoa. What the hell? Hang on.
The network of electrical equipment beneath Manhattan is so dense and so densely covered with concrete that it requires unique cooling facilities that use water from the rivers, which passes as steam into sewer lines, drains, and special vents. And then they're leak prone, so they have drain pans which catch leaks, and then those heat off as steam And also there's still like diesel powered trains, and it says steam is added to the exhaust to ensure it rises out of the system instead of murdering everybody.
Oh.
I was
No,
just
that's actually very interesting. I didn't think it would be as thrilling as it was.
Thank you. Just watching the clip again, I was like, is that just heat? That can't be right.
I bet you didn't think you'd come on a Batman podcast and be talking about steam and
I'm delighted
under the
to help.
concrete of Manhattan.
Yep.
I feel like your friend as well is just like, so what'd you talk about on the podcast? Like, Steam.
What?
Did you talk about like Crime Alley and stuff? Like, no, just talk about Steam.
Steam
and not even
mainly.
Steam. Like, mostly Steam in New York. Not even like I was speculating that that's what the deal with Steam in Gotham would be as well. But
Well, he's Bruce as well. He's rocking those shades, even though it's not
Yep.
really sunny. Which I assume is that just to keep himself a bit hidden.
I think that's the idea.
Because I mean, I've got those glasses that change in the sun, so I inadvertently do. Well, it's not even the sun; it's UV rays. So it can be kind of a dull day, but if there's UV coming through, you look like that, and you look like you think you're someone special, which is a bit weird.
I know my brother had the same glasses, and it's just like literally like you could be having a conversation with him, and within the space of that conversation, he's just talking to you normally, and all of a sudden he's wearing sunglasses. It's like, what the hell happened?
Maybe Bruce pioneered them.
Bruce does have a habit because he does rock specs in other minutes as well. So maybe he could have been like, I'm on the.
Is this around the time of the "I wear my sunglasses at night" song?
Oh, actually,
It'll be a little bit after.
Or maybe he inspired that also.
or maybe he's just riffing on it because he's just like, oh, I love that song so much. It's just like I want to be just like those guys.
That song was 84.
Oh, there you
So
go.
only a few years difference.
It could have been Tim Burton was trying to be hip with the kids. It's like make him wear the sunglasses like the kids like in that song, and then everyone will think Batman's really cool. And it's like, you don't have to convince people Batman's cool, Tim. He just has to be Batman. All right?
They're on board. But it's hard for me to picture Tim Burton doing anything to try and be cool for the kids.
Okay, maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was like John Peters or like the other.
yeah.
Yeah, the producers are just like, no, you gotta get in things for the kids in here. Come on. They used to love that. Like, what last summer was that? What that sunglasses song? Get that stuck in there.
What was the song about the glasses? Throw that one in.
And it's like, we got that guy Prince. Can he just do it? Can he sing that song? It's like, you don't want to go and ask Prince to just sing another guy's song, man. As they would paid him all this to write new ones. You crazy?
Do you think anybody ever asked Prince to do that? And what was the?
To sing someone else's song?
Yeah.
I bet they did, and I bet that he was like catty but perfect about it.
Oh.
I heard in his like the famous concert, like the Purple Rain concert, like when it was actually raining at the Super Bowl, that they were like, hey, like, so it's gonna be raining, like, is there anything that we can do for you? And his response was, can you make it rain harder?
Oh, that is cool.
Right? So I'm sure it was something like that. Like, can you sing this other man's song? And then just something equally as like dry and crushing.
Well, if Prince did do someone else's song, there's like a 90% chance he would make it better.
Yeah,
So,
I think it would then become Prince's song.
Yeah, he'd probably think, screw it. I'm going to do your song and I'm going to improve it
Like-
right in front of you.
Yeah, like when Hendrix did All Along the Watchtower. Like that's...
Yes.
He did not write that song, but
Yeah.
it's his forever. Like,
I admit, I
undisputed.
know that, and I know it, and I always forget that it's
Yeah,
not his.
yeah, right.
Because you just hear his all the time.
Or like a Johnny Cash's version of Hurt is like, that is the one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I remember hearing that apparently they even played that video to Trent Reznor, and he was just like, "Oh, that's Johnny Cash's song now."
Yeah,
Like,
I think
that's,
I heard the same thing. He was like, I guess I'm glad I wrote that song for this other person.
Yeah. As again, Twin Peaks fans will remember Trent Reznor from the Nine Inch Nails, as as they were affectionately called in the show for some reason.
Yep.
He's gonna have to change the group name now. It's got to have the.
Yeah. But I suppose though, Brad, because I'm judging by your Prince enthusiasm that like you're a fan, or you were a fan of his. Well, you could still be a Prince fan.
My mom is a big fan of Prince.
So was this like when you sat down? Did you know Prince had done songs for this when you sat down to watch it? Or
I did not.
You didn't? Oh.
I
So it was like
did
an
not
added
know.
treat.
It was a little surreal to be sort of just like, innocently watching the movie, and then all of a sudden, is this Prince?
I bet the first time you probably thought, oh, it's just a song they've picked for the soundtrack. And then the second time you heard Prince, you're like, wait a minute.
It's kind of like, oh, they seem to be playing a lot of this Party Man song, but whatever. That's one Prince song. And then later on at the parade, been like, wait a minute, that's him again. What's going on?
The parade was so weird. What a strange time that was. I was like, this is extremely long. This is an extremely long cut for this weird moment. Like, you didn't want to put these minutes somewhere else? Okay.
Oh, well, I've got thoughts on the parade. Particularly...
Sorry, I know that's another episode.
Yeah.
No,
Well, you had the opportunity to come for the parade, Bryarly, but you said you wanted to do September, so now you got Alleyway. Now you got Steam and Alleyway.
I'm sorry, I just don't know where I'm going to be in December.
Well, there's no one we'd rather have for a Steam and Alleyway conversation.
Thank you. That's really what I'm here for.
To be fair, though, you did after so many episodes of me and John going, God, there's a lot of Steam, isn't there? This is weird. And then just for you to come in 2 seconds and be like, this is why. And then I'm like, oh, well, that's us told, I guess.
Cooling and exhaust and temperatures. That's, yep. Steam and the train thing and the car. So really, I'm just a reference book for odd American things.
Well, we'll have to get you back for the next movie whenever we see anything unusual and foreign to us.
Sure, I'm just like the outside consultant.
It's like, Bryarly, why is this guy wearing a bow tie? What's the deal with bow ties? Where do they come from? It's like, all right, let me look it up.
There's this thing called Google.
Google. Let me write that down.
I don't know how you spell that.
G-L-E. Google.
Oh, okay. We'll make a note of that now. Put that in your Rolodex.
All right, it's going in the vault.
Add it to the beeper.
But so we do get Bruce now just chucking down the old roses.
Yeah, he does kind of throw them, doesn't he?
How many times does he do this? Is this the anniversary of his parents' death, or is it?
Yeah.
Or is it like he does this like once a week, or is it like when he's like?
It's got to be anniversary, like the time of year is right, and that could also explain his like weird panicky I'm leaving town, because he's had the realization of like, oh, I might be coping with my grief like poorly by having this girl here, and I have to go and deal with my dead parents. That's way too heavy to lay on a one-night stand. I have to leave. I'm leaving forever. Like it's a panic response. Yeah.
Maybe it was grief sex. That's terrible. Oh no.
I was definitely grief sex, right?
Oh, that ruins it completely.
No, it's comforting.
Well, for him.
Yeah. That poor Vicki Vale's just been like, well, that was nice.
Clearly it was nice enough that she was like, let's spend the day together. Let's have an 8-hour break between rounds.
And then it was presumably quite heartbreaking of just like, I'm going to throw off my entire day to follow you now instead of going to work and doing my job.
Yeah, she is after him. Absolutely.
Hey, I don't blame her though, because the way he just pushed her aside, I would also think that something's up. Because my theory is she's following him because she thinks, oh, maybe he's got like a secret wife or something. And I want to know.
Yeah. But again, do it in your off time. Because, I mean, this is in the middle of the working day. Come on, you gotta...
She is a journalist. I mean, they're sort of, like, infamous for obsessively following things. Like, I think if it were me, I would just be like, okay, well, he's kind of a dick, but he's very, very wealthy, so, like, if I can get a few delicious lunches out of this, then great. Vicki Vale is not content to not look a gift horse in the mouth.
Although we still never discovered exactly what that soup was that Bruce served up way back.
That weird, horrible. Yeah, I was so surprised too. Like, I think I would have been disappointed if it had gone from, "Do you want to get out of here?" Like, "Yes, I do," and then what he actually meant was, "And into the kitchen."
Into my butler's kitchen.
Yeah.
It looks like a separate part of the house as well. It's not even like the main part. It's like his little quarters or something.
Like, I guess the idea is like, no, it's sweet. He's letting down, barriers. But I think I would be a little bit like, wait a minute, what? What did you
If a
mean by
famous-
get out of here? When you say you're out of town for a few weeks, do you mean you like aren't going to be in your house? Like, what is your scale, Bruce?
Well, so if a famous billionaire wanted a date with you, wouldn't you be quite upset if he just took you to his kitchen? Like, you'd want to
exactly,
be taken to a nice
exactly.
restaurant or something.
Right. Or presumably to one of the many restaurants he owns. Like, you wouldn't be able to find a table.
It could be though, like it's one of those things of like Alfred's just like, shouldn't you take her out, sir? And he's like, it's just for grief sex, Alfred. Like I'm not going to town for this girl, you know.
It was
though.
it was all leading to this moment with the flowers. That's what it was.
That's really what he wanted. It was something just comforting.
So it reminds me. And did you ever see High Fidelity? When I can't remember which one of it's like the main love interest, but like there's John Cusack comes and he finds that like her father's died and he's out in the absolutely pouring rain, and then she just comes over and she's like, will you have sex with me? And he's just like, what are you talking about? Your dad just died. And she's like, I just want to feel anything but this. And then they end up having like rampant sex in the rain, and it's just like this seems incredibly weird to me, but whatever.
Did she
I
phrase
don't
it
get
exactly that way?
I think it's pretty much exact. It's along those. It's not that might not be the exact quote, but I think it is along those lines. Unless I'm drastically misremembering this film, because
I mean, I guess that's you cling to what you can. I mean, if you're having a terrible, terrible day, and you're just like, screw it, like nothing is gonna be worse. Like even if I'm rejected, it's not gonna be worse than this feeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
I once got in a car accident and was like, and I had this guy that I thought was cute, and so after that happened, I was like, f it. And I like sent him a message and was like, hey, I'm a little nervous about doing this, but I just got in a car accident and I can't imagine like anything like feeling worse than that. So do you want to like go out?
Oh, that's sweet.
And did it work, or is this
He said yes, and then we like just couldn't get our schedules together and it fell apart. But
Oh,
it's fine.
that ruined it.
I'm sorry.
I was like, we'll edit that part of the story out.
but
We'll make it seem really nice.
And like Bryarly and this guy are getting married next year.
Woo!
it was no, he wanted to come see me, and then you see the problem was he was shot in an alley outside of a seedy hotel.
Oh.
And then you had to
You
go.
you go every week and just throw flowers on the
I just
ground.
ask Batman to take mine with his.
And then like every time it happens, you have to go and ask another guy to go out with you, and then he gets shot, or like something horrible happens
It's
to him.
just
And
a
you're
string
like,
of bodies, just endless carnage, really. It's the real reason my dating life has fallen apart, is just I just keep getting shot. Can't ask out anybody, it's for their own safety.
Well, I hope podcasts you appear on, the hosts don't get shot.
Not to my knowledge.
we had again, actually, legitimately watch out for yourself afterwards, Bryarly, because one of our guests, we recorded with her for like 3 hours. And then, because we did 3 episodes, don't worry, you're not going to be here for 2 more hours.
Okay.
But we, and then like literally an hour later, we saw on her Twitter, her mom wrote up, she's just been rushed to hospital with like kidney stones.
She was a true professional. You never would have known.
But yeah, it was just like, holy crap, I hope like we're not, because she was one of the first guests, so we're like, I hope we've not got like a podcast curse or something. So when you go out on this hike, be like extra careful.
I'll try to be careful. We are doing waterfalls, so I suppose there's
well,
something
our other
there.
guests have all been fine. This was a one-off.
Well, that we know of anyway.
That we know of.
What's the time frame here? Like, if I send you an email in 2 years and I'm like, I broke my ankle, will that still count, or
curse.
is this like a 24-hour bug kind of situation?
So yeah, I'm just that full of anxiety and just want to blame myself for everything. So I'll just be like, even when you die at age 90, I'll be like, it's the curse. It's finally happened.
Well, that is what happened with the Tutankhamun curse, isn't it? It was actually fictional. People died like 35 years later, and they blamed it on that.
Yeah, I think the same thing with like some poltergeist too. Like, everyone from the cast has died. Some of them were old, but that's
Yeah. They died at 96.
Yep. Of death.
But in terms of like action for the minutes, like that's all the notes I've got. Unless you two, have you got anything specific to this minutes you want to bring up, or?
I think
No, I'm clean out of notes.
some of the things we were already saying are just like, wow, she's very bad at hiding. He is very bad at noticing. Those were my main takeaways, I think.
But I suppose like because you are in the unique position, Bryarly, of like someone. So you only saw this film like the other day, basically.
Yeah. A few days
And
ago.
like, are you like beyond this? Were you in any form of like a Batman fan? Had you seen like the Christian Bale ones or?
I've seen them, but I think they're like major movie events. Kind of the same way as like you've seen the Avengers, right? Like yeah, I've seen the Avengers.
But you didn't like it wasn't a thing where you walked away going, oh my god. You were just like, yeah, that was a film. That was 2 hours spent.
I think I'm kind of like burned out on superhero movies. It's like that's kind of been the genre of my life, more or less.
Yeah.
No, I feel you with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to get that now, actually, as well.
So I actually had a friend a couple of years ago, I don't know, somewhere in the last 2 years. She had an extra ticket to some superhero movie. I can't remember which one. And she invited me, and so through the movie, I would occasionally like lean over and whisper little, snide comments. And she told me after the fact that was the reason she had invited me. Was so that I would make fun of the film.
Did she not tell you before? Because it's like, I didn't want you to feel like you were on. You had to like want to do it
right,
secretly.
Or didn't want to like make me feel bad, or like she was like using me, and I it's a very weird feeling to go like I'm flattered that you think I'm funny enough that you invited me for this reason, but I'm also a little offended that you invited me because you knew that I would talk shit about this movie.
But it's also as well like she might have been worried like if I told you in advance, then you would have been like prepping notes. It's like I wanted the spontaneous stuff. I didn't want you to come in with like pre-prepared material.
I guess so. I was hoping for 100% pure improv.
Yeah, she'd be like, Henry Cavill, more like Henry Anvil, am I right? And she's like, oh, that's...
Well, before we head off, is there anything you'd like to say about this movie in general, in particular?
Yeah, like because again, like a lot of us who like probably grew up seeing it countless times throughout the years are just like, oh, this just looks amazing, and Batman looks so cool, and all this. But as like someone who's coming in as an adult, coming to this old movie that's a bit dated, were you just like, or do you think it was good or?
Oh, I actually. I liked it as a Batman movie, like for a couple of reasons. Like one, because I thought that the Joker was like really creepy. Not like creepy in like a in like the Heath Ledger, just like general weird malevolence kind of way, because Heath Ledger's Joker to me always seemed like fairly sane.
Okay.
Like a sociopath, absolutely, but like calculating specific, the kind of like large scale plans that you like can't make when you're a crazy person, because you just can't follow the thread that long. I really felt like Jack Nicholson's Joker, was like he really seemed genuinely more deranged, to me. Like he really like didn't really think things through if they weren't jokes. And that like that streak of unpredictability by virtue of like his insanity to me was really freaky. So I liked that, and then I also felt that it did a really good job of like keeping the silliness of comic books that I really think you should have in a superhero movie, like that you're not taking it too seriously. Like a lot of them are so grim dark, especially Batman.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That you kind of miss the days where Batman could just like have some shark repellent on his fanny pack. That's or like I thought Deadpool did a good job with that too, of being this kind of cheeky, not super heavy look at an incredible character. So I liked that. I thought it did a good job of like both being silly and keeping menace.
No, it is a great balance between the two. Definitely, because I love the Nolan ones, but they are just relentlessly dark.
Yeah. You get like little bits of like
oppressive.
Michael
fun.
Caine will show up for like a little quip.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, he'll come in and it's like, oh, thank God he's here. Or like as
Do you even lift, Mr. Bruce?
And even with like actually the Heath Ledger Joker, because he does have like a fair. That was one of the things that really bugged me about Suicide Squad, is that the Joker wasn't fun. He was just crazy. Whereas Heath Ledger did occasionally have little bits of like, he'd come out with little things that were actually funny, like when he's after speaking to Harvey Dent in the hospital, and then you see him using the hand sanitizer as he's walking out in the nurse's uniform. It's like, oh, that's the character there. You can do a little bit of like, oh yeah, I'm crazy, or I'm not crazy, but I'm, but he still goes into funny stuff. Whereas
Jack Nicholson also is like the creepiest man. He's just
I
so
find
good
him
at
quite
it.
creepy and sleazy looking.
Yeah,
that's a thing we've actually asked, because like I was always under the opinion that like everyone thought like Jack Nicholson was like really sexy, and I only found out like from like it was like a couple of guests back when Dale Kingsmill was just like, oh no, I don't like him at all, and I was like, what? And like, so you say like even like young like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest Jack Nicholson, would you not
Jack
find
Nicholson is like he's just creepy. Like I remember watching The Shining and thinking that it was hard to believe his descent into madness, if only because he seems so like off even before he gets into the hotel. Even in his interview, like from the very beginning, like just being in the interviewer's office, he like has these twitches. Like I think it's maybe that his gaze is very flat, but his face moves a lot. Like like doll's eyes. It's just a little. He's just creepy. He's just a creepy man. Like,
all right. I'm glad to start putting up like a checkboard now, because I think like Dale didn't like him. I can't remember if Lexi liked him or not. And Lauren Ashley Carter was like, I don't know, but I definitely would have done him back in the day. Just because it was,
she was quite into that.
But it's just like more just because it was Jack Nicholson. Yeah, of course I would have done him, but like I don't know about about falling in love with him or anything. And you're saying no, like flat out no. So
no.
Good, to be honest. Yeah.
I think he did a great job I think he does a great job as a villain, but I find him intensely off-putting.
Okay. Well, my teen years with my Jack Nicholson haircut is now all gone to the pot. Now it's like, that's why. It was because all women find Jack Nicholson repellent. But
You're basing yourself on Jack Nicholson.
Did you do the face? That's really what it is, more than the hair. It's the like weird exclamation eyebrows.
But yeah, I think I'm done, because we've hit the hour mark as well, which is usually a bit longer than we usually go. So
it's all that talk of steam.
But that's all integral now. We have to keep that in. So it's like.
Well, that does it for minute 45 of Bat Minute 89. So join us again next week, because we'll be back with minute 46. Yes, you guessed it right. Before we go, Bryarly, have you got anything you'd like to promote or put out there into the world?
I don't have set dates on anything. I'm working on a new record. You can go to my website to get more updates about that, or to see what I'm doing with voiceover stuff. It's bryarly.com, BRYARLY.com. And it also has links to my Facebook and Twitter and everything.
Yeah, brilliant. Make sure to check those out. And check us out on Facebook at the Bat Minute 89 Listeners Society. And we're also on Twitter at Bat Minute 89. And Instagram and Tumblr as well. So just look them up. I can't be bothered to tell you. You have to do a bit of work to appreciate us. Come on. We put the effort in.
As you
should. Put it in. As you should, yes. So join us again next week for Bat Minute 89.
Next time, City Hall chicanery, as our slinking snoop tries to get the scoop on a sullen dupe. Which dejected jerk will we find in a jumble of jostling journalists? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.